That doesn't even make sense. That's not English. It's not English words. I'm going to teach English. Fine. Hey friends, welcome to another Kilby Life video. I am Elizabeth, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about homeschooling. If you don't know, we have 8 kids, and we are going to be starting our 8th year of homeschooling this year in just a couple weeks. My oldest is going into 7th grade, so we'll have a 7th grade, a 5th grader, 2 3rd graders, a 1st grader, and a preschool kindergartner this year. So it's going to be a busy, busy year. Fortunately, we added kids mostly one at a time, and so I got to learn a lot during those first few years about different processes and things that would help me start and end my school year well. So here's a few tips for you. Number 1, know what your homeschool regulations and rules are for your state. If you can go into it knowing what reporting you're going to need at the end of the year, it's going to be way easier for you to get those materials together. For example, in our state, I can either submit a portfolio that's been reviewed by a certified teacher or do a standardized test. And so far, we have always chosen to do portfolios. So before my school year even starts, every kid gets a giant 3-inch binder with their name and grade on the side, so that as soon as they start getting papers, I have a place to put them. This eliminates all sorts of piles of papers and things. I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep it. I might keep it. Or tests and stuff that are just accumulating and taking up space but aren't organized. So now when we have a math test, we celebrate the grade and it goes into the portfolio. When we finish a project or a book report or anything that we want to keep long term as samples of our work, they go straight into the portfolio and not into some random pile that is going to get all mixed up. And again, keep in mind, I have 6 kids schooling. That would be a big pile of paper to sort through. It would not be fun. So that's tip number 1. Know how you need to end your year so that you can start with the right materials, whether that is a portfolio or knowing what standardized tests you're going to be working toward, but have that information in hand before you get your school year started. Tip number 2 is know your curriculum. I'm not saying you should memorize your teacher's manuals, but sometime before your school year starts, get them out and look through them. Most of the curriculums that we use are very open and go. Open it up, find the next lesson, complete it, which works really well for our family, especially when we miss days here or there, or something comes up, or we don't finish a lesson. However, all of those curriculums have different levels of involvement from me. Some of them they can do almost completely on their own, and I just need to check it at the end. Other ones, it's read this to your child, and then they're going to respond, and they need focused time and attention from me during that school time block when they're focused on that curriculum. Knowing how each curriculum is set up helps me structure my day so that I'm giving each kid the individual attention that they need in a timely manner. Otherwise, if we're all sitting around waiting for me to finish with one kid so that we can start at something else, that takes a really, really long time. So if I can have one kid doing something that's independent while I'm doing one-on-one stuff with another, and then we switch, it works so much better. So having an idea of what to expect from each curriculum before we start it has been a tremendous help and time saver, especially during those first few weeks of school when everybody's still a little bit scattered. Tip number 3 is going to be a 2-for-1 deal. Have some sort of plan in place so that your kids know specifically what they need to work on each day, and you have a quick visual way to see where everybody's at. Now, if you only have 1 or 2 kids, it's not hard to say, hey, have you finished math? Have you finished science? Let me see your binder sheet, or whatever it may be. But if you have many more kids than that, it can get really complicated and frustrating to chase them down and figure out who is where, who needs your help, who is not working that should be, who is done that you don't need to worry about anymore. So the way we've done this is with 2 different pieces of organization. The first one is this binder sheet, and it goes in the front of the binder. It has all their subjects listed down the side, and then it gives me a spot to write in specifically for each day that week what they're going to work on. That's the place where I write down math, pages, whatever. History, lesson 5. Make sure you do typing for 20 minutes. That all goes on that sheet of paper. So they have an easy checklist to see what needs to be done, what can they accomplish on their own without me, what do they need help with, and it helps us plan our day a little bit better. And then if they want to work ahead, they know what's coming up. The second visual chart that I use, this year we're using a pocket chart that I actually picked up at Target for $3 in the Bullseye's Playground right at the front of the store. And here we have the same kind of list where each of these little cards has one subject on it. And so as they finish them each day, so they'll put in on this side the cards for the subjects they're working on each day, because we don't do all the subjects every day. But let's say Levi is working on math and he finishes and I checked it off that he's done, then he moves it over to this side. So then I can look up and say, okay, this is what he has left to do now. You know, then he comes back and he finishes his English. He doesn't need to worry about English anymore. He moves that over to the side. So it gives me a really quick, really easy visual to see who has stuff that they're still working on, who has stuff that maybe just needs to be checked. But it gives me a really good, quick status update for where we're at any given point during the day. Tip number 4 is before you start your school year, have your school supplies organized. We have a built-in cabinet in our dining room, which is where we do most of our schoolwork. And on the very top, I have a pile of these containers. They're from Dollar Tree. And they are filled with different supplies. We've got dry erase markers, pencils, colored pencils, markers, crayons, glue sticks, scissors, all of the things that we could need during our school time is in one of these buckets. These ones in particular are really cool because the lids are attached. They flip open, they flip shut, they stack really well. And so it's easy for kids to get things in and out without making a big mess or losing lids or not being able to restack them. But just having our supplies there has made transitions between subjects easier, or if we're starting a project, it's really easy just to get up in the cabinet and pull it out because we know where it is and it's not hunting for scissors in bedrooms or trying to scramble to find the right color crayons to fill in this map. We know where things are and they stay there. We also have an extra one that's a catch-all that sits at the bottom of the cabinet. And so anything that I find when we're done with school, pencils, crayons, tape, scissors, anything that I find just left out, I throw in there. And then once a week, one of the kids goes through and resorts it out into the correct bins. So it keeps us pretty organized and gives us really easy access to the supplies we need regularly. Tip number 5, have confidence. I am, again, going into my 8th year of homeschooling. And when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know the difference between curriculums. I didn't know learning styles. I didn't know what homeschool style I wanted to be. I just knew that I didn't want to send my kids to public school. Homeschooling can be really challenging. Homeschooling with 1 kid, homeschooling with 6 kids can be really challenging. There's a great desire to do the very best we can for our kids, and sometimes you're going to wonder if that's enough. It'll all work itself out. There are skills that I thought I was failing my kids at that I have seen them grasp and just run with in the past couple of years, and it has reminded me that it is a long journey. It's not going to be instantaneous. Have confidence and know that your kid is going to do great. The very fact that you're watching a video about homeschooling tells me that you're either a close friend of mine or you care about your kid enough to watch YouTube videos about homeschooling well. Know that you may have to change curriculums. Know that your schedule may not run as smoothly as you think it will. Know that your kids may make you want to pull your hair out some days, and all of that is fine. Homeschooling and being around each other all of the time gives you an amazing opportunity to learn about your kids' personalities, your own personality, how they learn best, how you teach best. And as you continue on this journey, you learn more and more. You learn different techniques and different ways of doing things. And that makes each year just a little bit better and easier than the last one. So if you're new to homeschooling, it's going to be amazing. And if this is not your first rodeo, I hope you picked up something that will help this year be just a little bit easier and better for you. Thank you so much for coming and checking out this video. If you have any questions for me about homeschooling, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And I look forward to talking to you about more homeschooling soon.